Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, good morning.
Good morning, Jenny. Good morning. Good morning.
Ooh, are you ever on a roll? Now you might be rid of your all-time worst nightmare. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. just might be walking right into the sunset, and you must be a happy camper.
No, you know what? I'm willing to share my homeboy with you. You want to get on my homeboy? But
I do not. I got Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to share any of that. Not right now.
He's about to retire, too.
How many years, Shannon, have you been talking about Tom Brady's impending retirement? Since I started this
2016.
Feels like a long time. Well, we need to discuss the future for Mr. Tom Brady. His offseason obviously started a little earlier than expected. Sunday, after the Bucs' playoff loss, and reports surfaced before the game in which the 44-year-old's football future was undecided, and the QB addressed that on his podcast on Monday. Take a listen.
Football is extremely important in my life, and it means a lot to me, and I care a lot about what we're trying to accomplish as a team, and I care a lot about my teammates. And the biggest difference now that I'm older is I have kids now too, and I care about them a lot as well. They've been my biggest supporters. My wife is my biggest supporter. It pains her to see me get hit out there. And, she deserves what she needs from me as a husband, and my kids deserve what they need from me as a dad.
Shannon, now, what do you think the percent chances he retires?
Skip, this is really the first time that I've ever heard Tom Brady talk about his football mortality.
Yep.
He's always talked about this magic age of 45, and he's on the cusp of being able to play his 23rd season, play for it till he's 45. But when you start to hear him, and you heard a little bit after a game, and Skip, sometimes when you lose a game and that you thought you were going to win, especially the way it started out, and you battle back, because so many times, Skip, he's been in this situation before, start way behind, battle back, and somehow find a way to win the ball game.
Yep.
And for him to do that, obviously it's really fresh, it's really hard, because they were so hell-bent on repeating. They brought basically everybody back to try to run this thing back again, Skip. And so to hear him, but what we didn't hear him say in that clip that we played, Skip, is that I heard him say something that I had never, ever heard Tom Brady say before in the podcast with, I think, Jim Gray and I think Larry Fitzgerald. He said he's satisfied with what he accomplished this year. I've never heard Tom Brady speak in satisfactory terms.
Yep.
Everything is, Skip, what's your favorite ring? The next one. It was always, and people talking about in his gym, he has the date of the next Super Bowl. He's already had 56 when he won whatever he won, 52, 53 was on the clock, 54 was on the clock, 55, 56, and so forth and so on. Now, Skip, he's speaking in satisfactory terms.
I'm proud and satisfied.
Let me tell you what I've never heard great say, Skip, because when you're trying to accomplish something, you don't really realize. LeBron James does not really realize what he's doing because he's trying to do it. It's only when he sits back and says, man, I did that. I was this many times All-Star. Tom Brady is finally sitting back like, hold on, I got 7 rings.
Yep.
All-time this, all-time that, Skip. And, Skip, I was in that very situation, Skip. My brother used to tell me, well, how you feel? I said, man, I feel good. He's like, okay, what are your times? I said, man, I'm still running the time spank, but I just can't do the volume. So, okay, just keep, that's what like year 10, Skip, every you start asking me about that. And then I got an opportunity. CBS reached out. Would you be interested in interviewing for, the job? I'm like, sure. And Skip, I went and interviewed for the job, and I got home, and I started thinking, man, I won 3 Super Bowls. I've been an All-Pro, Pro Bowls, 11 50K seasons. Not even bad for a 7th-round draft pick. All of a sudden, Skip, I was starting to become satisfied with what I had done. So it didn't really interest me to get 12. It didn't interest me to all of a sudden be an 8-time Pro Bowler. A 9-time Pro Bowler. Skip, I was like, I think that's what Tom is going through, Skip. That tug to serve 2 masters, football and family. You'll love one and despise the other. And I think the tug of the family, I think he has an older son that's probably 14. Has this son, I think, 12?
Yeah.
And then V, the baby girl, is probably 9, 10?
9.
So now, Skip, hold on. Damn, I done missed everything. I saw the birth. Hold on, when did you get 9? When did you get 12? When did he turn 14? So now, Skip, hold on. Is the grind of another Super Bowl, Skip, is that worth missing another year? Is that worth missing another recital? Is that worth missing another baseball, soccer, or football practice? Is that worth that? And he's right, Skip. I mean, those licks start to hurt. And I can you imagine the wife of a prize fighter? If Tom Brady don't want to hit, because imagine what she's going through. Yep. So every time Tom hits the dirt, she's like, ooh, damn, baby. Tom probably moving a little slower, Skip. All of a sudden on Monday morning, Skip, ooh, baby, that hit her a little more. Baby, why don't you come on home? Skip, after the game, I said, Skip, I believe it's 60-40. He comes back. I've gone the other way. I think it's 40-60. I think it's trending in a direction that Tom Brady is starting to see his football mortality. And it seems to me he's become at peace. That's what you have to make, Skip. That's what you have to reconcile. You have to come to peace with that. It's going to be a lot more difficult once the season rolls around and all of a sudden the routine. That's what Tom Brady's routine. He loved the routine. I love the practice. I love to watch tape. Skip, I'm going to say it's 40% he comes back. 60% he retires.
All right. It is now my turn. When we discussed this last week, because Rob Ninkovich and my friend Christian Fourier, who played with Tom for the Patriots, both suggested this could be it. Wouldn't be surprising if he walked into the sunset.
Right. Especially if he won.
Yeah, I think they were even looking at the delayed final installment of the, what's it called?
Man in the Arena.
Man in the Arena. Okay. Which delayed until April. They thought, well, maybe that means that would be his swan song.
Right.
I scoffed at that. I believe you scoffed at that. Because all he did this year was play at an MVP level. I do not believe he's going to win MVP, but your favorite website, Pro Football Focus, strongly suggested and validated that his numbers say he should be winning the MVP this year. He did win a home playoff game against Philadelphia, and then all he did, obviously Sunday, was to throw for 125 in the fourth quarter as they scored 24 unanswered points in the second half to get back to 27 all. And then we all know what happened at the end, obviously not Brady's fault, that they had a defensive breakdown on a blitz that was called, and I still don't get it, but whatever. It was a disaster for them, and the game ended shockingly abruptly, and very possibly his career ended shockingly and abruptly, because I was a little taken aback that he didn't immediately say after the game, oh, I'm coming back next year, because he'd already extended for next year. It was also for cap purposes, where he'll only count next year if, in fact, he did play $18.4 million, which is way down the list of what that would be 17th among quarterbacks. I was told last night that the Buccaneers are now in a position that they will be surprised if he plays for them next year. Well, when I heard that, it knocked me on my keister. It shook me and it shocked me because I didn't see that coming.
I don't know about Skip. No, Skip, you mentioned the numbers. 5,300 yards, 43 touchdowns, led the league in completion percentage. And you walk away from that, not 2,500 yards and 12 touchdowns.
But what I was told was, if he were a single man right now, as he approaches age 45, he would sign for 5 more years. That's the exact quote that I was told by the Buccaneers. They believe he's got 5 years left in him if he so chose. But you heard those quotes, and they hit home to me, and I got no issue with any of them because we've been talking about this for years. How much longer will she let him? Will they let him? Vivian at 9, how many more times can he go home and hear her say, Daddy, why do you do that?
Right.
You know, why? Because she's up there in the box. We saw a shot of them, and they have to watch him undergo more pressure than he underwent in any game this year. He was under pressure 30% of the time. He took a couple of shots, not any career-threatening ones, and it wasn't. He took the helmet up under his chin from Von Miller, no big deal. But again, his wife has to sit up there or stand up there and grimace and wince at he got hit again. He's 44 years old. And we're talking about, she knows about Aaron Donald. She knows about Von Miller. She knows about Floyd. She knows about gains. She gets it that this is the fiercest pass rush in pro football. And for 4 long quarters, her husband has to stand back there under fire, under threat from those guys. And they don't want to hurt him. They respect him, but it's football.
Right.
And she knows this. And she's been after him now for, what's it been, 5 years of this?
Oh, longer than that.
Yeah.
Because, Skip, remember, she told a story, I think, when one of the documentaries that he talked about retirement in 2009 and 2010.
Right.
And here we are 13 years later, Skip.
Okay, so all of a sudden, I'm afraid I have to go all the way up to 90% on this one because it feels real to me.
Oh, yeah.
Because it felt so real to them after the game when he didn't automatically just embrace the opportunity to play again next year.
Right.
Okay, just to qualify this, as you so aptly point out, he just got his soul crushed on the football field. He didn't see that coming, and I'm sure he was not in the best of moods to be talking about his future, and he tried to avoid with the media. But then when he did that, when he had 24 hours to sleep on it and let it settle, when you heard those quotes from him, I think that's about as real as it got.
Right.
So I throw out only one other, and you can throw this out as a long shot possibility. Obviously, before he chose Tampa Bay, he wanted to go home to San Francisco. He grew up in the shadow of the 49ers in San Mateo when they played up at Candlestick Park out on Candlestick Point off the 101, but very near. He could get there from his house in San Mateo in like 15 minutes.
Right.
He was a Montana fan. Montana was the GOAT before Brady, and then Brady became the GOAT and transcended Montana. So he wanted to go home and play for the 49ers, and they said no.
Right.
Is there a chance that they would say yes this time? Obviously, we have an outcome awaiting us here. We got them in the NFC Championship game, and then who knows, we might have them in the Super Bowl.
But, Skip, that defeats the purpose. So if his wife is wincing him about him taking hits in Tampa, it's not all of a sudden her mind is going to be set at ease if he's taking hits in San Francisco.
I'm just doing it as a long shot that he could throw out the possibility just one more time around. Let me go home and finish there where it all started when I was a little kid watching Joe Montana. Let me finish with that 49er number 12 on, and everything will be right. And then I can walk away with my heart totally committed to you and the family. Just give me this. It's a possibility, and would the 49ers consider it? Well, sure they would. I don't know where the Jimmy G thing is going to play out. Obviously, they got Trey Lance, but Trey Lance could probably stand to wait one more year.
But that was the thing, Skip. Why would they say no 2 years ago but say yes now?
I don't know, because maybe they thought he was washed like everybody else did.
No, I think they was set on Jimmy G. And remember, we had this conversation when he said, "Oh, y'all gonna stick with him?" I said, "Skip."
You know what?
I said, "Skip."
You did. You jumped on that. You said it's got to be that.
It's got to be.
And I thought he and Jimmy were fairly close.
We cool, but he ain't better than me.
Okay.
What did
you know what?
Skip, what did AB say? AB was, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they ain't AB.
Yeah.
You know Tom thinking he the dog.
Okay, so back to your point about the children. Okay, so Jack is the oldest son, and he shares that son with Bridget Moynihan, who he's with before
Giselle.
Okay, so Jack is 14 but lives with his mom in New York City, but he tries to spend as much time as possible with Jack. So you got that issue of the travel, trying to find time to see Jack, and I'm sure Jack hasn't been able to see his dad very much, if I have my guess. And then you've got his own son, Benjamin, with Giselle, 12, and Vivian is 9. Okay, to your point, they're all coming of age where there are all kinds of practices and games and recitals and all those things that he's
missed a lot of that.
He's missed a lot of it. And he was very strong about, they were my biggest supporters, and now I owe it to them. Like they gave me all this to get this far, but now I owe it back. Well, who am I to argue with that?
Right.
And yet, in the end, what also shook me and shocked me was that he dismissed the whole notion of a farewell tour, that so many of the superstars won a farewell tour, especially somebody of that magnitude.
Right.
Wouldn't you like one last hurrah where everybody knew this was it? And you could sort of let it all soak in and sink in and enjoy the moment and enjoy the walk home.
But a lot of times, Skip, the guys that get that they're not what they once was.
Well,
this guy,
Ben Roethlisberger.
Right, this guy is playing at a level that we had never seen. Like I said, the third most passing yards in the season.
Yep.
He led the league in touchdowns. He led the league in completions. So that's different as opposed to a guy that's been banged up the last 3 years. He hadn't been the guy that we knew and loved.
Yep.
Tom Brady looks like the same. Obviously, he doesn't move as well, but he's never moved as well. He's never Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen.
I think he moves just the same way he always did.
So it's not like there's noticeable decline in his game. It's just the fact, Skip, that, you know what, like he said, they supported me. Skip, how many, Giselle, how many more PTA conferences I got to go to alone? You know, they do got a mother and a father, and it's only the mother that keeps showing up because you click, bam, that click, there's a tail right there. You keep doing that. At some point in time, Tom, I want to get some time with you where you still can do a lot of things that you're still in your 40s, because at some point you're not going to be able to get around as freely. She's like, I want to enjoy life.
Yep.
And the better part of your life, Tom Brady, half his life is spent in the NFL.
Yep.
So she's like, Tom, I'm sure and Tom is like, you know what, baby, I've been promising you this. I've been promising the kids I was going to get to see this. I was going to get to do that. So Skip, it's conflicting for him. Skip, if he threw for 25 touchdowns and 3,000 yards, it'll be easy.
Yep.
But 5,343, like, damn, I still got it though, babe.
So to finish on the potential farewell sort of retirement tour where everybody would know this is your swan song, he said, I think, this is in the podcast last night, I think that would be distracting for me. He said, he says, my enjoyment comes from the competing, from the competition.
Right.
And he said this year was just pure competition because nobody really thought this was the end.
Right.
So he said from game to game, I could just throw myself completely into football and I didn't have to worry about any retirement tour or farewell or whatever.
Are they going to if I have a retirement tour, are they going to take it easy on me? Are they going to be afraid? Am I going to be able to go all in knowing that, Skip? So like you said, no one knew. I didn't really know it. It was in the back of my mind. But if I have a tour, Skip, everybody's going to know it. This is it for Tom.
Yep.
He does.
So he doesn't want that.
No.
And yet, to your point, he talked last night about the satisfaction as he looked back, because he said, to your point, a lot of people thought I was done playing football in 2015. See Shannon, see a bunch of people. A lot of people said in 2016, you're done. A lot of people in 2018. And when I left the Patriots, they said, you're done. And all he did was, he already knows, this is on his resume, he chose 7-9 Tampa Bay in the middle of a pandemic with a torn MCL, and he lifted that team up to a Super Bowl.
Right.
And as you know, that was their first playoff appearance in 13 years, and it's been 18 years since they'd won with Derek Brooks and company back in 2002. Okay, so he's talking past tense last night about, I did all that. It's been years. It's been 7 years of people saying I'm done, and I wasn't done.
Right.
And he knows he played pretty well this year. He knows it.
Yes.
So when he says I'm proud and satisfied of what I did this year, that's a shocking departure for Tom Brady, because usually it's onward and upward, okay? It didn't fall right. We had a bunch of injuries. It wasn't. This wasn't meant to be, we'll get him next year. But we have heard no get him next year talk from him, right?
You know, you have it. And guess what, Skip? This is what the thing we know about great athletes. They don't look back, they look ahead. And once they look back, they fall back.
That's it.
Skip, anytime when you name a time, you covered this game a lot longer than I played it.
Yeah.
You've heard a lot of retirement speeches and guys thinking about retirement. You've never heard the greats, when they're thinking about moving forward, talk about the past.
Yep.
They talk about forward, what I'm going to do, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. He's looking back. He's looking in the rearview mirror, talking about all the people, which he's heard. Man, they said I was done in 2015. In 2017, 2018, I bought from the Patriots. They're like, oh, he done. He can't do anything without the Patriot way, without Coach Belichick. And what did I do? Instead of moving, saying, you know what? I got more of these years ahead of me. He says, no, I'm looking back and thinking, I did that. I'm good.
And yet it hit me like 10 tons of bricks this morning. Did we just see Tom Brady's last completion And you know what it was? If we could see it quickly, it was that 3rd and 10 from the 18 to Cameron Brate that almost looked like a first down.
Right.
Remember this throw? It's a good throw.
Yeah.
And I thought that looked on in live action like that was a first, and they measured it just like 6 inches short of a first down. And by the way, it was Cameron Brate who caught his Lombardi toss at the parade last year from boat to boat.
Right.
Remember that?
Yep.
Okay, so Cameron Brate from Harvard University, right?
Yes.
That's the guy who caught your last pass, your backup tight end. There's the boat throw. That was Cameron Brate who snatched that. It was actually at least as good a catch as it was a throw.
Oh, absolutely. It was a better catch, man. That's 7 pounds coming from what, probably 20 feet, 25 feet away? And those sharp edges on the bottom, Skip. I just think the hardest thing, the thing that Tom Brady has done, this is what we know about pro sports and professional athletes, Skip. Everything is structured. Tom Brady, for the last 22 years, has gotten up at basically the exact same time. He's eating at the exact same time. He's did this, and this. Skip, think about when we get a week off, we get 2 weeks off. You're like, damn, what am I going to do? I ain't got to get up at 2 o'clock. I ain't got to, you're like, but I got all this time. Ernestine, what do you want to do today? Tom Brady, for 22 years, knew exactly what he was going to do. He's going into uncharted territory. By now, all of a sudden, he's going to get all our script. He likes, Skip, the monotony.
I agree, and I don't think it's going to be that easy.
It's not.
Him.
When I retired, Skip, you know what helped me is that I got a job to be around football, so I got an opportunity to go out and interview a Tony Romo or go interview somebody from the Broncos or the Titans or the Ravens. So I got an opportunity to walk on the field and go to and so it kept me close to the game without being in the game. I don't believe Tom wants any part of anything television related to football. He has other ventures that probably, but Skip, it ain't football.
Yep.
That's the thing. He likes to compete. Now, maybe in his business, he's like, well, y'all trying to do that, what we do? Y'all can't do it like we can. Okay, let's try to crush them like I did my opponents. But Skip, it's a whole new world for him. But I've never heard him talk in the terms in which he talked yesterday. So
I agree. But until we actually hear it from Tom, it's hard to imagine a league without Mr. Tom Brady. We've been just so lucky to watch him throughout the years.
No mercy.
Well, no one was more caught off guard by the Cowboys' playoff loss than owner Jerry Jones. He took time to express his concerns with Dallas in a recent interview, but the elephant in the room remains Mike McCarthy's future as head coach, with some speculating that Jerry could offer Dan Quinn that gig to prevent his defensive coordinator from taking another job elsewhere. So, Shannon, Quinn keeps getting interviews for head coaching positions elsewhere. We know that right now. But should Jerry Jones just offer Dan Quinn the Cowboys head job to keep him around?
Skip, I think if he were to do that, Skip, that would just be a very knee-jerk reactionary move. If that's the case, Green Bay should fire their head coach. They lost. They were the number 1 seed. No one thought they were going to lose. Skip, I didn't second guess this. I said, Skip, I don't think he's the right guy for the job. I think we're overvaluing him as a head coach, considering he's had, for 2 guys, that's won 7 MVPs between the 2 of them. Green Bay Packers have had basically 30 years of exemplary quarterback play and only have 2 Super Bowls. That's another story. I'm sure we're going to debate that at some point in time, too, in the very near future. Skip, if he were to fire him, Jerry Jones would be admitting a mistake. Jerry does not strike me as a guy that likes to admit he's made a mistake. And if he were to fire, if I'm Dan Quinn, do I really want this job? Because tell me exactly what my job is as a head coach. Stand on the sideline. I got no say in the final 53. I got no say in free agency. I got no say in the draft. I'm just happen to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not going to get any credit when we win, because what did Jerry say? Jerry said, we got all this great talent. We should have more to show for it. So you didn't help accumulate any of the talent. The only thing you're going to get credit for is losses. Just like Mike McCarthy. Skip Bayless has been telling me since he's been there, we're going to win in spite of him. Okay, you win, and you was winning in spite of him until you didn't win. Now it was because of him that you lost when you've been winning in spite of him beforehand. So when I look at it, Skip, should Jerry do it? I think it would be very reactionary. But if I'm Dan Quinn, do I really want this job? I want to go somewhere I'm going to get some credit. Because I'm not going to get any credit, because Jerry's going to take all the credit. Jerry's going to take all my shine. Kyle Shanahan gets the credit for the success. You think if Dan Quinn takes over the Dallas Cowboys, is he going to get the credit that Zach Taylor gets from Cincinnati? Absolutely not. Because Jerry Jones wants all the credit. I'm saying 70% chance that he doesn't fire Mike McCarthy. I believe Dan Quinn is going to have his choice of about 3 or 4 jobs. The going rate for a head coach is what, Skip? $6-7 million? I don't believe Jerry's going to pay him that. Say, don't take this job. You'll be, and if things don't work out for us next year, you'll be next in line. You'll be able to succeed Mike McCarthy. I don't believe you pay him an assistant $6-7 million and you're only paying the head coach $5-6 million. I don't believe you give an assistant. You could. I mean, it's Jerry's money. It doesn't go against the cap, so
does not.
He could pay him $10 million and keep it. But I don't believe it's going to happen, Skip. I do believe Jerry Jones is very upset considering this is the first time that he's believed he had a Super Bowl caliber defense. He's always felt he had that on offense because of the talent that level they had. This year, the defense was flying around, and Jerry like, well, hell, we were bad under Mike Nolan. We ain't got anything to show for it. We were great under Dan Quinn, and we still ain't got anything to show for it. So who's at fault? We got to blame Skip. We got to blame somebody now. We can't give the 49ers credit. I'm sorry, Mike, you and Jerry Jones crosshairs. I'm going to say there's a 30% chance that he fires him. Only 30.
I don't care what the percentage chance is.
You want 100%.
It should be 105% because I have seen enough. I have admitted to you, in my career, I have never been more fooled by the hiring of a head coach than I was by Mike McCarthy. Please drop the Mike McCarthy and get out of our way because he has flat out gotten exposed over 2 years, not just one, but over 2. I got fooled, and I give you this, because of Brett Favre and because of Aaron Rodgers, but I shouldn't have gotten fooled by what happened his last 3 years in Green Bay. Because you want to talk about falling off the cliff, Aaron was falling and he took Mike with him. His stats were declining. He was beat up. He was hurt. He had this injury and that injury. And Mike went right with him because they didn't even sniff 500 over those last 3 years.
Correct.
It was pathetic. It was disastrous. He needed to go. He did go. But he shined that Super Bowl ring in Jerry's eyes one long night at Jerry's mansion over beer and nachos into the wee hours until Jerry Jr. said, Dad, what are you waiting for?
He won that ring in Jerry's building, too.
He won it in Jerry's building. He did. Long ago, far away, Super Bowl. Don't get me started on what happened in that Super Bowl. But the point was, I thought he was, as I told you, a made man. And yet he had been made by Brett Favre and he had been made by Aaron Rodgers. Period. End of story. There is no there when it comes to Mike McCarthy. He is literally a bump on a sideline log. He comes across as a bystander, as a spectator, just looking around, looking up at the Jumbotron, saying, oh, that happened. He's overmatched. He's overwhelmed by the aura of Jerry world and having to make decisions on the fly.
It's the Cowboys.
It's the Dallas Cowboys. And he's in charge and he can't live up to it. He just gets flat out overwhelmed to the point he chokes. He goes blind in any sort of clock management situation. He is all about clock mismanagement. And yet all you need to know about this year was they have a lot of talent. They ended the year number 1 on offense in points scored and yards gained. Their defense, as even Mike said, I gave him one comment all year that rang true to me. Never seen one side of the ball flipped the way we flipped our defense in the offseason. Well, Dan Quinn had a lot to do with that. And I am not here to suggest that Dan Quinn is salvation, nirvana, the answer. He's not your I'm not saying that. All I know is that in Atlanta, he was pretty great, at least for a while. And he got that team to a 28-3 lead over Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, and you know the rest of the story. Was he all at fault? Was Kyle Shanahan, his coordinator and play caller, somewhat at fault? Sure he was. And it finally went completely south, and when they started 0-5, he got fired. I get that. But he did good to great things for the Atlanta Falcons. He is a made man in that we know he can head coach a football team. And he was looked at as a charismatic, dynamic leader. And the one game I got to see him operate on the sidelines this year was at New Orleans when Unfortunately for Mike McCarthy, he got COVID. He wound up in a hotel in Frisco, Texas, watching his Cowboys play at New Orleans. Dan Quinn with cap on backwards. I'm not sure Jerry would go for that in the long term. On the sideline, acting just the way he acts up in the press box when he's the defensive coordinator as the head coach. He's butt slapping. He's hugging. He's bringing energy and life to a sideline that was often lifeless. So what happened to my team just on sheer firepower? Star power. It leaped out to 6-1, and it finished 6-5 down the stretch over the last 11 games. And worse, against your Denver Broncos, when I least expected it, they fell behind 30-0 early in the fourth quarter. And then against the Raiders on the Thanksgiving stage, they fell behind 24-13 mid-third quarter and lost in overtime, as you know. And they won the toss and lost in overtime.
Right.
Against Arizona, they fell behind 22-7 early in the fourth quarter, and then in the playoff game against San Francisco, they fell behind 23-7 early in the fourth quarter.
Right.
It was lifeless. It was uninspired. It was Mike McCarthy failing again and again to get his team ready to play football because he has no motivation in his DNA at all. I used to hear back in the day, all the way back to Brett Favre days, that he was one of the better play callers in the league. And then he comes to Dallas, and obviously Kellen Moore attached to the hip with Dak. Okay, I'm fine with that. Mike couldn't even call plays.
Right.
So what does he do? Well, he does next to nothing.
Right.
And then he started taking credit for these motivational ploys like monkey butt powder that embarrassed me as a lifelong Cowboy fan.
Right.
Monkey butt powder. And then a year ago up in Minneapolis, we flew in watermelons so that I could have my team leaders take sledgehammers to watermelons up in the meeting room the night before at the hotel.
I'm sure they hated cleaning up that mess.
It was reported it was a huge mess. Okay. And yet he took credit for that victory of Andy Dalton winning at Minnesota. And this year Cooper Kupp won at Minnesota. Okay. So what? Not Cooper Kupp, Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush.
I got Cooper Kupp in my psyche right now because he ruined me. But the point is, I have seen enough of Mike McCarthy, and I believe Jerry Jones has seen enough. That's why in his big 25-minute salvo on his radio show 2 days ago, he would not bless him. He would not vote of confidence, Mike McCarthy. He would barely even bring up his name because, as Jerry said after the game, I am surprised and I am sick over what I just saw. And I believe he still is sick over what he just saw. Is Dan Quinn his type of guy? No, he's not, because he's a little too loose and cool. He's a little too hip and slick for Jerry. It's not, I don't know. Plus, he's more of an arm's length guy. He's not going to get close to Jerry. I don't think he's going to be a beer and nachos guy with Jerry. But again, would I take right now Dan Quinn over Mike McCarthy? You better believe it in a heartbeat, I would.
You know what, Skip Bayless? You the fault. You the reason that Mike McCarthy might lose his job because you and guys that Jerry Jones valued their opinion convinced him this was the Cowboys' year. Guys that played for Jerry Jones, guys that he valued, from the Jimmy Johnson who just went to the Hall of Fame, he said this is the Cowboys' year. This team reminds me a lot of those 90 teams that was a dynasty. Well, you said that too. Y'all convinced Jerry this was the year.
And our man Troy Aikman.
Yeah, y'all convinced him. And Jerry like, ooh, you heard with Troy, you heard with Jimmy, you heard with Skip Bayless saying they are diehard. They know these Cowboys. They've covered the Cowboys. They played for the Cowboys. They've coached the Cowboys. And they said, this is our year. Ooh, this is our year. Now, you got 35 reporters around you like, well, Jerry, what's going through your mind now after losing a game to the 49ers? And now he has to, I'm disappointed. I'm upset. When you have the collection of talent that we have, you expect better results.
You do. So all of a sudden, as we speak, who is the single hottest candidate on the head coaching market? It is. It's DQ. And I'm not meaning Dairy Queen. I'm meaning Dan Quinn.
Yeah, it is.
He's interviewed at Chicago and Minnesota and your Denver Broncos.
One of the finalists for the Broncos.
Miami, and he's had second interviews, and he's hot.
Right.
Okay, you got me again on another point you made. It's highly possible he would look at the Broncos or the Dolphins maybe and just say, you know what, that's just a better job than this Dallas job because I don't have to deal with Jerry.
Right.
And I thought Tim Cowlishaw made an excellent point in a piece he wrote yesterday in the Dallas Morning News. I've known Tim forever. But his point was, that there are 31 other GMs and personnel directors in this league who have to compete for their jobs with their jobs on the line every single year, except for one franchise, the Jones Boys, as Tim called them.
Right.
The Jones Boys don't have any pressure because they own and they operate.
Yeah.
So if it blows up right before your very eyes, are they going to lose their jobs? No. So every other team in this league, all 31, have a GM whose butt is on the line every single year.
Yes.
What did you do or what did you not
Yes.
do? Should I or should I not? Should I keep you or should I not?
Right.
Well, there's never that question asked in only one place, in Dallas, Texas.
Correct.
So in the end, Dan Quinn probably saying, well, give me the Broncos. I'll take the Broncos. Again, the reason Dan Quinn's going to have a hard time deciding is what's Aaron Rodgers going to do? We're about to talk about him, right? Okay, where's he going to go? Is he going to wind up a Bronco? I'll take that job. He would take that in a heartbeat over the Dallas job, I believe.
Quarterback is everything.
Okay, and yet who's going to be, is Deshaun going to wind up in Miami or not? It sounds like not. Okay, is he going to go somewhere else? Maybe I should take that job. Okay, so he's the hottest candidate. And yet the only way to keep him in Dallas would be to offer him McCarthy's job.
Correct. That is it. Because I don't see a scenario, Skip. Skip, you know, like a lot of times in college, you're like, okay, we got the guy in waiting, in succession. So we're going to keep this guy on. We're going to play him a king's ransom. And when such and such retires, you will step to the forefront. You see Coach K is stepping down. He got the name as successor.
He did.
Roy Williams stepped down to Carolina. He kind of got the name as successor.
He did.
And so in this situation, I'm going to pay you 50% what the going rate is for DC or OC, and we're going to give Mike McCarthy one more year. He doesn't get it done, but Dan Quinn says, okay, but if he gets it done, then what? Jobs might not be available, especially the quality of jobs. Skip, there's some quality jobs out there now. I mean, we understand that Jacksonville's out there and Byron Leftwich is going in for a second interview. I think he would be a great candidate for that job. He was a quarterback. He was a quarterback there.
He was.
He did a great job with Tom Brady. Everybody going to say, well, he had Tom Brady. Okay, fine, but Bill O'Brien didn't win the Super Bowl with Tom Brady, and he got a head coaching job. So for me, Skip, I just look at it like it would be very reactionary if Jerry were to fire Mike McCarthy because I want you to take some culpability in this now because you convinced him. You do. You convinced him because how about you told me they were jinx-proof. This is our year. We're going to do this. But Skip, what if you got to show? Skip, that was a bad division. You won a bad division. There's some stock into that. Look how fast you went out. Look how fast the Eagles went out. Look at teams that play in quality division. They still around. Look at the 49ers. It's not an accident. The 49ers had one of the toughest divisions in football. It's not an accident. Kansas City still around. One of the toughest divisions in football. It's not an accident.
Okay, but early on, we did win at the Chargers, and we won at Belichick, and I'm going to put those in my bank. I saw it with my own two eyes. That worked, and that worked.
Yeah, but you had 6 games against teams that were terrible, and you know it, Skip.
I don't think Philadelphia's terrible.
They're okay.
Okay, that leaves us just one other possibility, one other escape hatch route, and that would be Sean Payton, who is now very unhappy in New Orleans, but probably unhappy just because he's burned out and probably needs some time away from football. So would he wouldn't be available because he can't just walk away. You would have to propose a trade for Sean Payton. Now we're back to the same catch-22 here.
Oh, now you know Sean Payton, he 1,000 trillion% his own guy. You gonna give Sean Payton some control, a lot of it.
You would have to hand him the keys to the kingdom. You would have to say, you run it, you pick the talent, I'm going to semi-retire back here in the shadows. I just don't think Jerry would ever do it.
Because who is his mentor? Where did he learn everything from? Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells ain't go nowhere without control. And so Sean Payton, you think you're going to just get Sean Payton and says, okay, Sean, you the head coach of the Cowboys. You got no say on the final 53 in free agency or the draft. Sean Payton is like, man, you better get out.
Well, Sean was there. He knows what it's like.
Exactly.
Yep, I don't see it. Plus, you'd have to trade for him, and you'd have to trade a first-round pick or more. I don't know.
Well, hold on. What about Kellen Moore? You don't get Kellen Moore the job? I thought you liked Kellen Moore.
As a head coach?
Head coach.
I do not. And my pet peeve in your league is that constantly I see coordinators elevated who have nothing to do with being a head coach. And all of a sudden, Kellen Moore's the head coach?
You got to be able to delegate.
Yeah.
You got to be able to delegate, Skip. That's the biggest thing.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. Boy, he could be on the move, though, somewhere else. Guys, I don't know what to do with the Cowboys right now. We'll leave them. We do need to discuss Aaron Rodgers and his future as well with the Packers. Despite their one-and-done exit from the playoffs, you know, the Packers are all in on their future with Aaron Rodgers. Despite the reigning MVP's hesitancy to commit to next year, head coach Matt LaFleur said that, quote, there's no debate. The whole organization wants Rodgers back under center for Green Bay in 2022. So, Shannon, does Rodgers return to the Packers?
No, I don't believe he does, Skip. And he's been unhappy for a very long time. And I don't know what the hell the reasons are that he's unhappy. Maybe he's just an unhappy person. But Skip, why the hell? Excuse me. But why do I want him back anyway, though? So he can win another MVP and I go out in the first round?
Yep, that's a good question. Yep.
For those 4 MVPs, and I do believe he'll be in the 2021 MVP. With those 4 MVPs, he's gotten me 1 Super Bowl to show for it. So exactly why am I keeping him around? Why am I letting him hold me hostage? Why do I got to be a hostage in my own home? Brian Gutekunst, Mark Murphy. You know this man got y'all hostage in your own organization. He's holding you hostage, and he's winning you what? Okay, yeah, he had tremendous numbers, Skip. Yes, I believe he's a top 5 quarterback as you and I sit here and debate this topic. But what has that gotten me? In his 2005, so in his 17 years, 16, 17 years, almost 18 years, that got me 1 Super Bowl. And I'm letting him hold me hostage for what? Man, y'all better move on because it's not going to stop. Because the one thing that you let somebody know about power, this is how power works. Once I know I got it, I'm unrelenting and I'm going to want more of it.
Yep.
That's how it works. Aaron Rodgers, once he found out they flying, y'all gonna fly here to see me? Your private jet?
Yep.
I might take y'all call. I might take y'all call. I might take y'all, might not. So guess what, Skip? They board up and come out there again. Now you've empowered him. Nah, you know what? Aaron Rodgers is phenomenal. He should win the MVP, but I'm done. Because him winning MVP, what'd that get me? That get me disappointed. That get my fans upset. I got 70,000 fans, and they disappointed because he gave me 10 points. That's what he got me.
10 points.
That's what he got me.
As the number 1
And it's
seed.
always something. It's always, well, you know, this and that, and I don't know, you know, I got to sit back and I got to go, and maybe if I get me a new dog and my old pickup truck can run and I can go fit. Man, I'm tired of him. Green Bay should be tired of him because for all the great numbers in the regular season, for all the great throws, we don't see enough of that in the postseason. And so as credentialed as he is, and he's transcended, and he's credentialed to the umpteenth degree, he's been this big in the playoffs.
Yep.
Skip, the dude is about to have 4 MVPs with 1 Super Bowl appearance on that resume.
Yep.
That's not nearly enough. That's not enough for the man to hold me up, to waterboard me every time he feels like it. And I got to acquiesce to his demand. Skip, it's time to move on. Hey, what y'all got? He got 1 more year on his deal. What y'all got? Hey, step right up. Step right. Hurry. Step right up. What you got for me? Because he can go.
Thank you for everything you just said. You being the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan I know, at least you were, and you have been through regular season MVP runs, and you have seen the light and said the light. So I appreciate that very much because I have said for at least 10 years on TV, he crumbles under postseason pressure.
Yeah.
And he has done it consistently and historically at the highest of levels.
Right.
And so now we've seen back-to-back seasons in which he had home field advantage. He was the number 1 seed this year, and he had the NFC Championship game last year at home, and he lost that. And as you just pointed out, he just scored 10 points against the San Francisco 49ers. Heck, my team did better than that the week before. 10 points. He came up smaller and smaller as the game grew longer and longer. He was not there when needed.
Right.
And he turned it right back around in the postseason. He turned it right into, oh, woe am I. I don't know what I'm going to do. I hold you hostage again. Packer Nation, I got you. Packer Nation, I need you to swoon at my feet. I need you to kiss my feet throughout the offseason and beg me to come back and save you again. Because you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Because he won another MVP, so that's back-to-back, and it's hard to release that. It's hard to let go of the rope of back-to-back MVPs. Yet, to your point, it screams you should let go.
Right.
He's going on 39 years of age, and I don't think he's going to get any better in the postseason. The pressure will only build on him in postseasons. So if somebody will give you something of import, if somebody will give you a package for Aaron Rodgers because they are desperate in Denver for a quarterback or who knows where else, if somebody will come to the table with players and or high picks, first-round picks, I'm doing it in a heartbeat just to get out from under being held hostage by this diva, this blame-deflecting, finger-pointing diva who is simply the most overhyped, overrated postseason quarterback I have ever seen in my career.
Well, based on what he's accomplished, there's no question about it, Skip. We've never seen a quarterback that have this kind of resume come up this small, especially this late. Now, if you want to make the argument like Peyton Manning, look how Peyton Manning started off. Okay, yeah, but look what Peyton Manning done once he got going.
He did.
Aaron Rodgers, Skip, has. I mean, you can't lose that. First of all, he didn't even get to the championship. I guess that's a blessing, Skip, because we can't say he's 1-5 in championship games because guess what? He lost before he got there.
So he's 1-4 in NFC championship
And you know what,
games.
Skip? He might go somewhere else, and he might get them further. But I'm just saying maybe he needs a change of scenery. But I cannot continuously allow him to hold me over a barrel in my own home and make me acquiesce to his demands. For what? If that was Tom Brady, and if Tom Brady said, this is what I need you to do, Tampa Bay, I need you to do this, this, and this. Okay. Aaron, how can you make demands when you haven't given them anything in a decade?
Plus, they met all his demands last offseason. They got him everything he wanted, including bringing back Randall Cobb, his buddy at receiver.
Right, but Skip, he wanted it to be an old boys club. I want you to keep Jordy Nelson.
Yeah.
Well, Jordy couldn't run anymore.
No.
Well, I want you to keep Clay Matthews Jr. He couldn't run anymore.
Nope.
I want you to keep eating my guys. We go to the Kentucky Derby. We hang out together. So I know. This ain't no Aaron Rodgers fan club. Bro, we try to win games. We try to win championships here. And we don't believe these guys because guess what? Jordy Nelson got released by the knee, ended up retired.
He did.
And Clay Matthews, ain't nobody picked him back. He played that 1 year and it was done.
That was it. Okay, so they went and got Jordan Love. And I'm guessing they're still not sold that he would be their long-term answer at quarterback.
Right.
Well, maybe it's time to go get somebody else.
Yeah, if it is, okay, we made a mistake. We made mistakes before. But the thing is, look, you got upset. Well, if you was playing well, they wouldn't have drafted a quarterback traded up in the first round to get a quarterback. They ain't traded up in the first round to get no quarterback to Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
They ain't get no quarterback. I don't even think they even drafted a quarterback. Justin Herbert. If you had been playing with Aaron, it wasn't like you were playing great. I get it. You're upset. I get the egos and all involved with the quarterback. Skip, you take my position. So what you trying to say? I'm trying to say you're not playing well.
Yep.
And we're going to put your feet to the fire. Okay. And you threw that all up in their face. Well, I threw a monkey wrench in the plan, Skip. You know, a lot of people thought it was over for me, and he did it again. Got to go get back to back. But, Aaron, you do realize in the process of you playing historically great, come playoff time, you play historically small.
He does.
As great as you are in the postseason, you're equally as bad postseason.
In the regular season.
As great as you play in the regular season, you're equally as bad in the postseason. That's the thing. That can't be. So, Skip, I'm done. I think Aaron Rodgers is a top 5 quarterback. He's phenomenal. But, Skip, I got to move on, Skip. I just can't let the man just keep holding me hostage and just doing whatever he wants. Because now, basically, he's in control. He got more power than Brian Gutekunst.
He does. So since that road wildcard run to that Super Bowl 11 years ago, he is 7-9 in the postseason. Not all his fault. Hasn't had the greatest defenses or the greatest special teams.
Right.
But if you're a 4-time MVP, you have to be better than 7-9 since the Super Bowl. You have to be better than getting to one Super Bowl 11 years ago, and you won that. But since then, you have been a postseason disaster, and people have made excuse after excuse for you until finally it's time for his organization to say no. But LaFleur said in his 45-minute press session yesterday that we're in lockstep. We're all unified. We want Aaron back. So they're basically saying, you still own us. You still run us.
Skip, Aaron Rodgers, that type. You know, Skip, how you go to the like, okay, babe, I want you back. You know, no, I want you to say it publicly. I want you to put it on social media. I want to hear you say it publicly. See, it's not good enough for them to tell him behind closed doors. He wants them to grovel publicly. And that's what they're doing. They're groveling over him. Nah, this is between me and you. No. I want everybody to know how you feel about me, how you miss me, how you need me. Well, damn, baby, is it about us or is it about the world knowing?
Yeah.
That's what he's doing, Skip. Come on, bruh. So what does he get them, Skip? They bring him back and what? Yeah, they could be. I don't want to be a part of a rebuild. Well, you know what? Had you gotten them another Super Bowl or two, hell, you're like, hey, I don't want to be a part of no rebuild. Y'all allow me to go somewhere. Tom Brady. Coach Belichick say, we try to rebuild this thing, Tom. Let Tom up out of there. Tom go somewhere else, win him another. Everybody happy. Coach Belichick got what he want. Mr. Kraft didn't get what he want. Tom got what he wanted. Everybody happy. Well, what you talking about? Bro, what we got to show for all the MVPs you got? We got one Super Bowl, and you got 4 MVPs. We got something ain't adding up, Skip.
Nope, doesn't add up. Sorry. They got to have the guts to cut bait, to cut ties, and they don't.
Skip. It's hard. Because, Skip, the likelihood of you finding another Aaron Rodgers is highly unlikely. But for those numbers, what am I getting for those numbers, Skip? I win the division. I win maybe a game in the playoffs. I ain't got no Super Bowls to show for it. I ain't got no Super Bowl appearances to show for it. I got one. And I got 4 MVPs. That ain't good enough.
Nope. Agreed.
No mercy. So LeBron has been on a tear lately for the Lakers as he's averaged just over 32 points per game. The King spoke on his hot play as of late, saying, I'm in one of the best zones offensively I've been in. So he's feeling it. Shannon, are you? Let's not forget LeBron. He's 37 years old. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how impressive has he been?
He's been a 10, averaging 32.5 points a game over the last 17 games. And as Jenny mentioned, he's 37 years of age at year 19. I think he's disappointed that as well as he's playing, it hasn't resulted in more team wins. But as we start to age, as we saw with Tom Brady, you need better players around you as you start to age. Tom Brady, Skip, if you say Tom Brady was the same player in New England as he was in Tampa, you saw the results were a lot different because the talent wasn't the same. He didn't have a Mike Evans. He didn't have a Chris Godwin. He didn't have that offensive line that was able to shore things up and keep him from getting hit. So now you put better talent around him, you see the results. Well, hopefully AD coming back, that will produce some more wins. But for a guy to be in year 19, to be averaging, 29 points a game, only one other guy has averaged at least 15 points in year 19. That was Kobe. He averaged 22 when he missed the bulk of the season, Skip, with that torn rotator cuff. He's shooting 52% from the field, which is the highest he's shot since he's been in L.A. He's shooting almost a career high from the free throw line. So, Skip, he's playing unbelievable. The only downside is, as well as he's playing, it hasn't resulted in more wins. But for him to nobody. I guarantee you, if you'd ask LeBron, if you'd ask him, say, LeBron, what you think your numbers would be before the season? I can assure you, he wasn't going to say, I'm going to be averaging 29 points a game, Skip, shooting 52% from the field. He's playing unbelievable. The only disappointing thing is, Skip, we're 500, under 500?
You're a game under. You're 23 and 24.
Put it like this, Skip. If they were, 23 and 24, so that's 47 games. If they were 30 and 17, LeBron James would be the runaway MVP favorite with these kind of numbers. He's getting a little buzz, but it's hard to get on the MVP wagon with both feet, considering their game under 500. But I'm at a 10 as far as impressive meter. I'm disappointed it hasn't resulted in more team wins.
So, scale of 1 to 10, impressive meter for LeBron James on one of the great offensive tears of his career. I'll give it a 3 because of 23 and 24, because it is not remotely contributing to winning. In fact, it's not even making a dent, because this was after the game in question at Miami on Sunday evening that got sort of swept under the carpet because of the incredible football that was going on.
Yeah.
But I had it on, and I had one eye on it, and LeBron's team trailed by 26 points in that game. Did make a late run that made it kind of interesting, but you never got the feeling they were actually going to pull it off.
Right.
It would have been the greatest Laker comeback in 20 years, but they didn't pull it off, down from 26. And just a weekend ago, they lost by 37 at Denver. So things are going south, and farther south.
Right.
Where I don't know how Frank Vogel, still has his job. At some point, somebody's got to be the scapegoat for the quote-unquote GOAT, and it would seem like he would have to go. Although now the latest reports are that he seems to be okay. But you're down by 26 at Miami,
right,
and they don't have Kyle Lowry or Tyler Hero. That's scary bad to me.
Right.
Okay, so I'm here to suggest to you that LeBron James is turning into Russell Westbrook in mentality. Maybe it's contagious. Maybe he's been infected by Russ, who's the all-time solo act stat machine. And now it just feels to me like LeBron has said, hell with it, I'm a stat machine. I'm going to get mine. I don't care what you guys do. I'm just going to go get mine every night. I'm going to get 30 plus. And he's trying to make the case that I'm doing it with great efficiency. He said, I'm shooting efficient from the free throw line. I'm shooting efficient from the field. Well, I'll give you the field, but the rest of it, like he said after the game, he said, I didn't shoot the 3-ball well tonight, but all 8 of them felt great. Well, I had one eye on the game, and there was a shot taken about 8 minutes left in the third quarter. If we could see this is one of he went 1 for 8 from the 3-point line, and this is the one that felt great. It felt great. That might have missed by 3 feet left, and he said all 8 of them felt great. Well, seriously? That felt great, LeBron? I don't think that felt great. Maybe it felt great when it left his hand. Well, that's scary if that felt great, because let's look harder at the stats, shall we? Okay, so right now, LeBron James is attempting almost 8 threes a game. He had 8 the other night. It's 7.9 is the exact stat. Okay, so what is he shooting from 3 right now? It's 35.5%. Well, trust me, that's not very good, because that ranks 92nd of 156 qualified three-point shooters. So it's not even average.
Well, he's hit a rough patch the last couple of games, Skip, but he was at one point, he was shooting about 38%, which is very good.
He's a career 36, so he's fallen back to the mean.
Right.
He just is what he is. And he is shooting it a little better from the free throw line. He said, I'm very efficient from the free throw line. 75.6%.
Yeah, you see that. I'm about to give me some due on that one.
Okay, that ranks 76th of 106 qualified. 76th of 106 qualified. It's not very good. It sounds good for LeBron by his standards, but it's not by anybody else's standards.
But you got to base it on what he's doing. But what about the scoring? What about the efficiency in which he's shooting the basketball from the floor, at the rim,
he
in the
is
paint?
Getting to the rim, and he is finishing fairly consistently. He didn't for a while earlier this year, but lately he's been finishing. He's 6'9", 260 pounds, and he finally woke up and wised up and said, they still can't keep me from the rim. Just take it in there, take it in hard. I'm ambidextrous. I'm left-handed by birth. I can do both.
Right.
And he's making a lot of shots at the rim, and that works. It translates, but it doesn't translate into winning, because he's ranked 208th in defensive win shares.
But Skip, I think the thing is that you are. But see, if you just, I'm just basing it on how impressive it is for him and what he's doing. Okay, granted, it's not, but Skip, I mean, the guy's averaging 30, giving you 38 and 6 on a nightly basis.
Second to KD in scoring overall.
Yes.
Okay, I give you that, but look what's happening. His 8 3-point attempts a game ranks 16th in the league. That's pretty high. You're top 20 in attempts. Well, again, You rank 92nd of 156 qualified three-point shooters. So you're shooting way too many and not making enough. And it's hurting your ability to compete in the basketball game, right?
No, that's not. No, what's hurting their ability is that they don't have guys that can do what they once could do.
Okay, so let's look at shots attempted. He's all the way up at 21. It's 20.9. That's the fourth most shots taken in the league. In the league right now. He's fourth, and he's not very far behind Paul George, believe it or not. He's not playing at this moment, but he's at 21.4. Jason Tatum's 21.1. Luke is at 21.0. So it's going to fluctuate. He's right in the mix for taking the most shots of anybody in the league.
But 20 shots for someone of LeBron's caliber is not a lot of shots. Now, I do think that's going to fall back some once AD, because now, Skip, AD is going to come back. You're probably going to try to start with AD running the offense through AD, letting him get his rhythm back. So I believe that's going to probably fall back. I don't know if he can keep average. I don't know if he can average 29 points a game, but that's what's needed, Skip. If LeBron James doesn't score, where the hell is scoring coming from?
Well, apparently that's what he thinks, because all of a sudden, 2 years ago in the bubble when they won their championship, that year he averaged 10.2 assists, which, guess what, led the National Basketball Association. He's now plummeted to 6.3 assists per game. So 10.2 leading down to 6.3. That's a big drop-off per game.
But also, he didn't have a guy on his team that was averaging 9 assists a game. Russell is averaging 9 assists a game. So now it was needed different. AD was also averaging 26 points a game.
Okay.
Now AD no longer there. Okay, Russ, you handle the facilitator. I'll still get you 6, but I'm needed more as a scorer. Okay. And remember, Skip, in his career, he's really never said, okay, you just got to score.
Okay.
He's always had to score, rebound, and assist.
Okay, and by the way, your man LeBron James is now tied for third as we speak in minutes played in the league. He's playing high minutes.
But what did he tell you? He said, you remember? They put a franchise on my back at 18.
Okay.
So I don't know
but he was 18. Now he's 37. You really like that?
Got to carry another franchise.
Okay. So he finally admits in the same interview the other night that he said it's natural, it's only human to look at who's above you in these scoring ranks and see where you are and see if it's even possible.
Right.
Well, you can't tell me he's got his eye on Kareem. He said, I've never chased a record. Well, he's chasing Kareem because the clock is ticking. He needs 2,006 points, and I believe he can get them. Yeah. But he's just saying, I got to get them how I get them. I'm going to be shooting. I'm going to be jacking up more threes because 3 counts more than 2.
But here's the thing, Skip. Do you think he was chasing Kareem at 15,000? Do you think he was chasing Kareem at 25? No. I mean, you're this close. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
it's just like
Kareem.
Brady. Brady wasn't chasing Brett Favre. Whoever had the most passing yards at the time when he was at 20,000 yards. But once he got within, say, 5,000-6,000 yards of Drew Brees, you're like, well, hold on. I mean, it was Peyton Manning ended up having the record when and then Drew had it, and then he caught them. It's like, hold on, man. I'm like 2 years. I'm like a year.
Yep.
I'm like 6 games.
Which is why I don't believe he loves AD even coming back. I think AD is going to get in his way of chasing Kareem.
We're going to get their record.
Yeah.
We too close not to, Skip.
Okay. But it's all about chasing Kareem.
No.
You're not chasing dubs.
Yeah, we chase Skip. They're eluding us. That record, can see that record stationary. Them dubs moving. You know, we got Denver one night. We got Phoenix. We got Golden State. Now we got the Nets. So them dubs, they hard to catch. We can't corral them things. Kareem, that record stationary, Skip. So as we tick, that record doesn't move. So we gonna get it. We gonna get it. We gonna be like 1,000 points short going to the next year.
LeBron James, ultimate stat machine.
40,000.
Way to go.
Doesn't Skip.
Way to go.
We the only guy. We got 35, 10. I mean, we got 10,000 rebounds, Skip.
Yep.
About to have 10,000 assists. We gonna have 40,000, 10,000. Do you think there'll ever be a guy to do that?
Well, all I know is LeBron's going to be good for business at your restaurant because you only serve losers, and he's going to be living at your restaurant.
Hey, Skip. We tried, man. We tried. We tried to get some dubs here. Maybe AD can come back and give us a little something, but we got to we got to get them shots up though.
Where's the restaurant doing, Shannon?
You didn't say nothing when Brady was throwing 50 times a game. What was that about?
No mercy. Sunday, the NFC Championship presented by Intuit TurboTax Live is on Fox with a clash between division rivals as Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers take on Matthew Stafford and the Rams for a trip to Super Bowl 56. It all kicks off at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Well, according to a new report, the Houston Rockets would be open to trading for Russell Westbrook if they also got LA's 2027 first-round pick in the deal. In return, Houston would send John Wall to LA, who has hardly played in the past 2 years and ironically was already traded for Russell Westbrook before when the Rockets and Wizards made a similar deal in 2020. Deja vu. Shannon, should the Lakers do this?
No, hell no. John Wall has played 40 games in the last 3 seasons.
Yep.
He's played 0 games this year. He played 40 games last year.
He did.
He played 0 games in 19 and 20. He played 32 games in 18-19, 41 games in 17-18. So in the last 5 years, John Wall has played a grand total of 113 games.
Yep.
Skip, here's his stats from last season. 20 points a game on 40% shooting, 32% from 3. Here's Russell's stats. 19 points, 44% from the floor, 30% from 3. They're the exact same player minus the injury history. I'm going to roll with Russ. I'm good. And then you talk about throwing a first-round pick. Hell, they don't even got a first-round pick till 2027. Skip, it's 2022. You got no first-round picks. I am absolutely not doing this deal. Absolutely. They traded basically their future away for AD. Cool, I'm good with that. You got a championship out of it. Hopefully AD can stay healthy and he can be the bridge from LeBron when LeBron moves on, AD, and they're able to attract another superstar. Because the one thing we know the Lakers can do, attract superstars. Wilt, Kareem, Shaq, LeBron, Skip on the list. We know what they can do that. But absolutely not, I'm not doing this deal. What? John Wall history, Skip, he has missed as much time as Clay over the last 3 years. Nah, Skip, I can't do it. I'm going to roll with Russ. Hey, I know Russ going to frustrate me, have my blood pressure sky high.
He will.
Like I just ate fatback. But I'm going to roll with it. I'm not fooling with John Wall with that injury history. And the same shooting percentage. They're basically the same guy. But one guy is going to play a bunch of minutes, and the other guy, you might get him for 5 games and not see him until 2023.
Which is exactly why I would do this deal.
No.
It would be classic addition by subtraction. Don't you want out from under Russell Westbrook?
You're trading heart disease for diabetes.
No,
I don't want either one of them.
You're trading high minutes because Russ is leading the league in minutes played for low to no minutes, which is a good thing.
Yeah, Skip.
Okay.
Skip, why would have a guy on the bench making $42 million a year and not playing?
Because you would get rid of Russell Westbrook or Brick because you get out from
Russ
under the mere presence of him demanding the basketball and just being so intrusive on the offense.
What do you think John Wall will do?
Nothing. And guess what? John Wall is represented by, it's Clutch or Unclutch Sports. One of those two. He's represented by Rich Paul, who happens to be the closest friend of LeBron James because we know it's LeBron's agency.
It is not LeBron's agency. It's Rich Paul's agency.
So, again, John Wall would be a little more pliable than Russ would because Russ is his own man. You want to talk about
Russ has been doing quite well since he got the benching.
Yeah.
I think he got the message that things are not going to be going his way.
And you trailed at Miami by 26 points.
So,
okay,
that's not just on Russ.
Okay, but it's a disaster. You know, and I know your blood pressure is going through the ceiling down the stretch as AD comes back, and you try to fit in Russ and AD with LeBron trying to catch Kareem, and it's just it's a recipe for disaster.
So we're about a month away from the trade deadline.
No, I think we're less than that.
Okay, we're less than that. Yeah, February 10th.
Right?
Okay, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So how about this? We got 2 weeks, say 8 games.
Yep.
To try to get something together. They say they wanted to see Russ, AD, and LeBron. All of them healthy, all on the court together, so we can have some kind of indication, either yay or nay, we can move forward with this, or we need to pull the plug and move in a different direction. But I'm not moving in the direction of John Wall.
Okay, but I'm shocked that somebody out there would take $44 million and then next year $47 million off your books.
Hell, Skip, you have to say John Wall making minimum wage.
Okay, I get it. I mean, that's why the trade would work.
Exactly. Okay? And then you want a first round or two?
Okay, that's 2027.
I don't, Skip, we ain't got none until 2027.
But I love the ringers proposition here that if you could sweeten the deal a little bit more with the pick and maybe you throw in THT, you can let him go now, right? You thought he was untradeable, right? You couldn't let him go.
You always try to sweeten something.
Okay, but if you could throw that in and get Eric Gordon back from the Rockets, I love Eric
But he
Gordon.
on the last year of his contract.
Okay, I got it. And he's an aging player. But you know what? He can shoot it. He is Buddy Hield light.
Yeah.
And that's who you wanted to complement LeBron, right?
Right.
Eric Gordon will play a semblance of defense. He's a pretty good perimeter defender because he's a tough guy.
But he can't stay healthy either.
Okay, but I will take him. He is what would solve some of your problems in your rotation defensively and three-point shooting.
What if we trade Trevor Ariza?
Okay, well, who wants Trevor Ariza?
For Eric Gordon.
Oh, I'm sure that. Who do you think these people are? I mean, they're crazy enough to take Russ.
Well, you try to get me to sweeten the deal. Well, we'll throw in THT. Nah, you remember that, Skip? You remember the sweetener saccharin? They outlawed it because it was dangerous.
Yeah.
That's what you try to do to me. You try to give me saccharin to trade all our pieces.
I want to see you get out from under the force of nature that is Russell Westbrook. It's a force of nature. It's uncontrollable.
I like the semi-change that I've seen in Russ.
Okay, and I get it'd be the old cliche of changing the deck chairs on the Titanic,
right.
You know, Wall for Russ.
Yeah.
But Russ, I should say this, John Wall is less threatening to your mix than Russ is.
Yeah, because he's probably not going to be able to play.
Good.
He's going to play 2 games, and then what? We paying $40 million. The Lakers playing $40 million for him sitting on the sideline and be decked out.
Mitigate the mistake that LeBron James made. LeBron wanted it. He said, I want Russ. Not Buddy Hield.
Rob Pelinka.
No, you know.
Broached the subject.
LeBron is the unofficial GM of the Lakers, and he wanted Russell Westbrook. So you say, hey, we can undo a big part of this if Clutch Sports says, John, come to L.A. and just cool out for a year. Just take it easy.
And do what? He got another year on his contract, too.
Just watch.
No, ain't no watching. Nobody paying you $40 million to watch. You better get your butt out here and help us win some games.
Well, can he help a little bit? Yeah.
Why can't he help Houston?
Would he be as egomaniacal as Russell Westbrook?
Okay, he can help. Okay, the Lakers not as bad as Houston. Why can't he help Houston win some games then?
John Wall?
Yeah.
He hadn't even played.
Okay, why not?
Yeah, well, I mean, last year you pointed out he averaged 21 a game and 7 assists.
Okay, why?
His turnovers are much lower than Russ's.
Is he healthy? So if he's healthy, why isn't he helping the Houston Rockets win some games?
I have no idea. I don't care. I'm just saying he's the lesser of evils. Of that,
no.
Way less. You have an escape route to get out from under Russell Westbrook, and you don't want to take it?
Maybe I like it here.
Are you starting to come around on Russell Westbrook?
Maybe I like it here. Maybe I like it. I like what I've seen over the last couple of games.
Do you really?
Like what I've seen.
Because low turnovers and kind of staying out of the way, standing over in the corner on offense, and what?
Yep.
You know and I know.
I might change. Look, I got 2 weeks to change my mind.
Yeah.
So I might change my mind.
Hey, a 1 for 10 is on the way. 1 for 10 from 3, and a nine turnover game is on the way.
Russ don't shoot the 3 ball like that no more.
Okay.
Yeah, he learned his lesson.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
We told him you shoot more than 5 in a game, and you don't hit the first 4.
Okay.
He learned his lesson.
You could get out from under.
So you sit right here with me, son.
LeBron. You can cancel your mistake to a certain degree.
Nope.
LeBron.
You can do right by a clutch
What you mean, do right?
Yeah, get him to L.A. Get him out of Houston.
No mercy.
So in a recent interview, Antonio Brown said he'd like to play with Lamar Jackson, calling him, quote, great as a quarterback and a playmaker. The former MVP seems to be in favor of this idea, engaging with a post featuring the clip on social media. Shannon, would this work?
No, and I hope it doesn't. Hopefully the Ravens are smart enough. They've coached against him. They've seen him behave in a manner on their very field in which he wasn't getting a whole lot of throws and he was throwing water coolers on the field.
He was.
Hopefully they saw that. He's everything they don't. He's nothing like the Ravens culture. I would like to think I'm a part of that culture.
Yep.
That was really established in 2000 and kept going with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Suggs and all these guys, Jonathan Ogden,
yep.
and it carried on up until this day.
Mm-hmm.
He's the antithesis of what a Raven should be.
He is.
Skip, because guess what? You might not get 5 targets in a game, let alone catch 5 passes. Is he going to be okay with that? No. Mark Andrews is Lamar Jackson's favorite receiver.
He is.
Favorite target.
No doubt.
So now what happens when Mark Andrews get 10 targets, AB get 3? You know he going to act up. And I get Lamar Jackson showing support from his South Floridian brother.
That is correct.
Get all of that.
Yep.
But if I'm the Ravens, I'm staying far away from Antonio Brown. Skip, if he couldn't be happy with the marksman that Tom Brady is, with the locker room that they had, what makes you think he's going to be happy in Baltimore? Man, look, hopefully Ozzie and John Harbaugh, Steve Bisciotti, Eric, hopefully they stay away from this situation. This will not end well. Name the situation in AB's career that's ended well. Okay, that's a small sample size. Okay, I'm going to give you a big sample size. Pittsburgh, Oakland, New England, Tampa. That's 4. He's only played on 4 teams. How the hell you get unceremoniously released from 4 different teams?
Yep. Good question. Okay, do I believe that AB and Lamar are close because they came from the same neighborhood? Yes, I do. Do they work out together in the off seasons? Yes, they do. Is Hollywood Brown a cousin of Antonio Brown? Yes, he is. Okay, so you have connections and connections. And I've been doing this too long. Those connections break down under stress and under the fire of a long football season because all of a sudden you're at each other's throats. What is your biggest issue with Lamar Jackson, who did win an MVP in this league, but you still wonder about can you consistently throw the football?
Yes.
And to your point, AB, you just went from Tom Brady to a young quarterback who runs a run-based
They run
offense.
the football.
They run it like crazy.
Tom threw it 40-plus times a game. They run it 40 times a game.
They do. They run it more than anybody in the league.
Yes.
And when they do throw it, they mostly throw it to the whatever you want to call him. He's a hybrid tight end.
Yes.
And he made first-team All-Pro, said Pro Football Focus, and a Pro Bowl.
Yes.
He is.
He's legit.
He's legit. He's really good.
Yes.
No Shannon Sharpe, but he's pretty good.
He good.
And the point is that when in doubt, Lamar throws it to him.
Right.
And he'll throw a few deep balls, try to get Marquise Hollywood Brown just a little, he'll get him a couple balls deep. But where does AB fit into this mix? Not much. It would be slim pickings for him there. And the odds on him going over the edge on you would be high, much higher than they were in Tampa.
Absolutely.
To me.
Yes.
Even though you're close to a couple of players here, sometimes that closeness breeds more issues than you had in the first place.
Content.
Yeah.
But Skip, here's the thing, is that what happens when all of a sudden AB doesn't get his way? He doesn't get 10 targets. You know how he behaves. You leave, like I said, my only concerns with Lamar is being able to throw the ball consistently, accurately. You just left Tom Brady. And somehow, if they throw the ball 40 times a game, and you want to go to a team that runs the ball 35 times a game, and the quarterback is not nearly as accurate.
Yep.
And we already know how you're going to behave. The moment you don't get 15 targets, the moment you don't get your way, you're going to buck. That's what you've done everywhere you've been. This is not a new theme. This is not one team. This is not an isolated incident. Isolated is a thunderstorm. There's an isolated storm over there in Santa Monica.
Yep.
Well, everywhere you go, you're the isolation. It was raining in Pittsburgh. It was raining in Oakland. It was raining in New England. It was raining in Tampa. He like Pigpen, Skip. You know, dirt don't follow nobody else in peanuts but Pigpen. And they wonder why, well, who that's you? Pigpen is you. AB. Problems follow everywhere you go. And somehow you don't know you the problem.
So, in the biggest picture, I believe Antonio's going to have a hard time finding a job next year. You still think that production is above tolerance, okay? But to me, all he's got going for him on his resume is that he did win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady,
Right.
and he was a model citizen, dare I say, last year.
Until he thought they needed him.
And
Chris Godwin went down. Mike Abel was kind of nicked.
Yep.
Gronk, he was like, well, Gronk, Tom ain't feeling Gronk because, he yelling at it. He asking what he doing,
Yep.
what Gronk doing. So he like, okay, this AB time to shine because I'm better than...
For one game, it really was. 15 targets, 10 catches, 101.
But he forgot about that, Skip.
Yeah.
He forgot about the 15 targets. What about now? I ain't getting 15 targets now. No, because they can't cover Gronk. They leaving Gronk wide open. So we just hitting him, and he running for 30 yards, AB. What's the problem? I thought you wanted to win. I thought you like winning. You like, Tom's a winner, I'm a winner. No, you want to catch. I want to win, Skip, but can I get 12 catches for $150 and 2 touchdowns in that win?
Yep.
As opposed to 3 catches and 25 yards or 40 yards and we win. Nah, I take the 12 and 150 and a loss as opposed to the win. I know how guys like AB think. That's how AB about them numbers. Numbers get Pro Bowl, Pro Bowls get All Pro. That makes you money. AB about that money.
So
if I'm the Ravens, I'm staying away from that. They better not call me.
After AB had walked back some of his comments, and he had said that finally, I regret the way it ended for me. I shouldn't have. That was the wrong behavior. I shouldn't have left the field the way I left it.
Right.
Then, after the Bucs lost the other day, he reposts the same picture of him leaving shirtless the field, holding up.
Bucs eliminated.
Yeah, Bucs eliminated.
But Skip, what about early that morning? Tom Brady got his arms around him.
Yeah.
He like telling the man, "Good luck, kumbaya." So what happened to that picture?
Okay, well, you're just sending red flag pictures right and left.
Thank you.
Where people are just going to say, no, not worth it.
And basically, he's just a LinkedIn. I guess he's trying to this is an open invitation. Man, I love to play for the Ravens.
Yep.
Bro, you love to play for anybody who's going to give you a job.
That is correct.
If Jacksonville call, AB going to Jacksonville. AB's going to go anywhere that's going to give him a job. He can no longer be selective. Tom Brady, there are other guys that have choices where they can go. He has no choices. And it better not be a former... Well, he ain't going to Tampa. Because if Byron left, we get that job. I know damn well he ain't going there. And that's the problem. He's ruined the relationship, Skip. It's all about relationships. You know that. Coaches, players, a lot of times guys get a job. Well, you know what? I coached that guy a couple of years. Yeah, he's a little longer too, but he understands the kind of culture that I want.
Yep.
He kind of understands the scheme and what I'm trying to get across.
Yep.
Let me bring him in here, put him on a minimum contract, got a job. I like to think, Skip, I guarantee you right now, I can call Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan, I call Kyle. Kyle, I need a job. 84, what you looking to do?
Yep.
I call Wade Phillips, get a job. Wade, I need a job.
I agree.
Any coach that I've been around, I guarantee you I can call them and get a job. I bet you I can.
Yep. You could.
You know why? It's all about relationship. Coach Reid's wife, I bet I can call her and say, somebody, I need somebody. You know anybody that can do this? Shannon, let me reach out. Let me find out. Skip, it's all about relationships. Why would you ruin that?
Yep.
You can't live on an island, Skip. And AB he's insulated himself.
He has.
He's made it virtually impossible for somebody who wants to extend because you did that to Tom. You rooting for Tom to lose after he embraced you.
That
Correct.
photo alone should be proof enough to know how he's going to treat your team. And it's just, I don't know. It seems predictable at this point what we will expect and get from AB. Yet people continue to give him a shot.
No mercy.
After the Chiefs won in overtime without the Bills even touching the ball, Andy Reid admitted, quote, "It was great for us last night, but is it great for the game?" Which is the most important thing we should all be looking out for. To make things equal, it probably needs to be able to hit both offenses, both defenses. Shannon, should the rules be changed?
No. I mean, Skip, I think people are upset because it happened to be another great quarterback on the other side. I think if somebody gets the ball and Tua doesn't touch the ball, ain't nobody complaining about Tua or Teddy Bridgewater or Baker Mayfield not touching the football. And Andy's always been a proponent of this, Skip. He proposed after he lost in the championship game to the Patriots. He proposed that everybody touches the ball. But this notion that overtime is decided by a coin flip is not true. And remember, the most famous in the game was, Skip, what? the Tim Tebow. That was the first year it was instituted. So
by the way, we have that?
No, we don't know. We do not know.
Oh, we do. We got it. Look, Demaryius, the late, great Demaryius Thomas. He's gone.
Wow.
Pittsburgh does not get to touch the ball because they don't deserve to touch the ball. Thank you, Tim
Man,
Tebow.
you got me over here like Nancy Kerrigan.
That highlight will live forever. What a throw that was by a guy who can't throw.
Since the rules were instituted, Skip, there have been in regulation and postseason, there have been 163 overtime games. Only 35 of the 163 has been decided by a touchdown first possession in the game.
Okay.
That's 21.5%. So this notion is a coin flip. A coin flip, they say if you flip a coin 100 times, about 50-50, maybe 41-49.
Okay.
51-49. 35 out of 163 is not a coin flip.
Okay, but 10 of the last 11 have been won by who won the coin flip, right?
Well, hey, play deal. Skip. I'm not saying don't let them score. Just don't let them score a touchdown. If you hold them to a field goal, you get the ball. Now you get a chance to go win it with a touchdown.
See Dallas versus Oakland.
Guess what, Skip? They got the ball first, and they didn't get no touchdown.
No touchdown. Okay, I do agree with your premise. Just play some defense.
A little.
What does everybody do? Now, what is the chic way to do it when you win the opening coin toss?
You defer.
Everybody defers. It's just like even Mike McCarthy. I defer because everybody defers. Mike McCarthy. Oh, bump on a log, Mike.
Right.
He defers. Why are you deferring? Well, I'll play defense
right.
first. Okay, well then, what's the problem with overtime?
Right.
If they win the toss and take the ball, good for you. You get to play defense.
Right.
Go get the ball back. They have to go 75 yards? Really?
Right.
Okay, 75 yards. And what does Mahomes do? He hits Tyreek for 19 yards, and then Kelsey just running wide open down the middle of the field for 25 yards.
Skip, you see, they ad-libbed that play.
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey told him, I'm not going to probably run the play that you call. He's like, I'm going to do something like this. And Mahomes is at the line. Kels, do it. Kels, do it.
Okay.
So you got them ad-lib a play for you.
So you let their two best weapons go 19 yards and 25 yards, and all of a sudden, they're in field goal range.
Right.
Okay. And then boom, boom, boom.
You deserve, Skip, you don't deserve to get the ball.
Right.
After you let them do that, Skip, you let somebody go 44 yards in 13 seconds, you don't deserve to see the ball in overtime.
Okay, I got it. But I'm here to tell you, I think it's going to get changed. It feels like there's a groundswell just because it happened in this game with those two quarterbacks, and it felt like for once that the other quarterback deserved a shot.
So did Matt Ryan deserve a shot in the Super Bowl?
Sure he did.
Wait, what was the groundswell?
Well, did Patrick Mahomes deserve a shot in the AFC Championship game? That's why Andy tried to get the rule changed then. And just give us a chance. Let us touch the football, right? Well, something's going to change here.
You think it's going to happen this year?
And here's the other problem. Everybody's talking about player safety. Well, is the NFLPA going to stand up and say no if they say let somebody else touch let the other team touch the ball?
Look, don't get me started with the NFLPA. But anyway, Skip, at the end of the look, and they said, well, that's why we cut it down to 10 minutes. Well, we'll cut it down to 5 minutes. You concerned about player safety? Cut it down to 5 minutes.
You could do that. And then the Ravens made a proposal last offseason that was the damnedest thing I've ever heard. It was the, what did they call it? The spot and choose rule.
Right.
Where
like
one
college?
team gets to choose the yard line from which the overtime will begin, and the other team gets to decide whether it will play offense or defense.
Right.
So you put it, we'll put it at
do it like
32.
do it like college. What is college? What do they put it on? Skip the 25?
Yeah.
What does college do it?
Yeah, and each gets shot.
Everybody get a possession. So you know what you got to do. You know what you.
It seems so gimmicky to me. Just it doesn't seem like real football.
Skip, this pro football. Dude, are they not playing defensive players now? I understand that they've made it hard, but you stopped them before. You forced 4 punts. Buffalo, you forced 2 punts in the game. So you can stop that offense. You've done it.
Yeah. And they did change the rule back just before the Tebow throw.
Right, because there used to be a field goal within the game.
Okay, so you stopped
So you made it even harder. So now field goal, that's too. Somebody might kick a 55-yarder. No, you got to get the ball in the end zone.
Okay.
Now we're going to make it like, okay, to make it like team-friendly, we got to be good sports. We got to let you touch it too. We got to let little Johnny get in the game too, Skip. He got to get a cup. Stop it.
Guess so. I promise this will get changed.
I hope not.
Yeah, I do too.
But no one wanted the game to end. That was what it was. It had just been such a good game. You wanted to see if he could have done it, but we'll see.
Buffalo didn't want it to end. That's why they played that bullseye defense.
No mercy. Guys, Anthony Davis is probable to return for the Lakers tonight as they continue their 6-game road trip with a game in Brooklyn against the Nets. So, Shannon, the Lakers are 23-24, good for 8th place in the West right now. So how much will AD help?
I'm not expecting a big turnaround unless he comes back and get beat and become what he was when he first got to L.A., which was basically 26-10. If he gives me that and LeBron continues to play at the level, they can turn it around, Skip, maybe get to the 5th seed. But I haven't really seen that from AD this year.
Well, he's 23-10.
No, but Skip, he's shooting a worse from the 3. He's shooting 18% from the 3.
I got it. And he was 38% in the bubble, right?
So what am I going to do with that?
You're going to rise in the standings because he's still a top 10 player. You know it, and I know it. And LeBron's going to have to now take a back seat to AD. He's going to have to quit shooting so much.
Nah, we ain't going to stop it.
His stats are going to fall. He's not going to threaten Kevin Durant.
That's what you want. That's what you want to happen.
He's going to have to make room for the big guy.
We're going to make room.
Yep.
But if you think LeBron scoring 20 points while AD averaged 25 is going to get us somehow to rise in the standing, that's not going to happen.
Wasn't that the goal to start the year? You thought it was the year for AD to take over.
Yes, but I feel LeBron needed to average somewhere around 25 to do that.
Okay.
AD was supposed to be at like 26, 27.
No more stat machine for
you hate old LeBron going to lead the league in scoring.
At this point. Skip, Shannon, we're back same time tomorrow morning. The Herd is on now.
Solidify that GOAT talk.
Have a great day.